late, I'm late. All these stairs. Gotta get to the seminar. I gotta get in better shape. Okay, finally. Let's do this. Okay. Yes, classroom 1A, please.
Now get this! If you're late one more time, you're fired! Get to work!
Okay. Can I have everybody's attention, please?
Quiet!
Okay, now that I've got your attention, I'm here today to present a seminar on EV training your Pokemon. Now, you're probably wondering what EV training is. It's a kind of an advanced way to train your Pokemon by utilizing items and fighting certain Pokemon in the field. Now, first thing I'm going to talk about is what are EVs. EVs are effort values. And just like experience points in battle, you will gain effort values for every Pokemon you defeat in the field. Every Pokemon out there has some level of effort point, whether it be HP, attack, defense, special attack, special defense, or speed. Either 1, 2, or 3 points in either one or multiple of these stats that they are worth. Anytime you fight in a battle with one of those and survive, you will earn that point or points. So say if I'm fighting a Pichu in battle, I believe they are worth 1 speed EV point. Well, that would be 1 EV point you would get in speed, and that is basically how you build your stats. The other ways to do that would be not just through battle, but through different items as well. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to present a couple of items that I used in the past to train my Pokemon. And if you recall, about a little over 10 years ago, I also did a video on my personal channel explaining how to EV train. And I have some of these items that I'm going to actually show off. Let me see if I can pull them out of my bag here. Here they are right here. Now these, I believe, are on sale at some of the shops you'll find in your adventure. You have the Power Bracer, the Power Belt, the Power Lens, the Power Band, the Power Anklet, and the Power Weight. What these will do, if you equip them to a Pokemon, yes, it will cut their speed in half, but what it will do is it will give 4 EV points per battle you go into in a specific stat. So for example, if you're wearing a Power Bracer, you will get 4 EV points in attack for every battle you do, in addition to whatever the Pokemon is initially worth. So in essence, it's a bonus. The other thing I do not have is called the Macho Brace, which basically just doubles whatever EV points you get in battle. So that's another way to do that. A couple of the other items that I will show off are these feathers. Let me see if I can find them here. These automatically give out EV points. You have the Health, the Muscle, the Resist, the Genius, the Clever, and the Swift. They will give 1 EV point in their respective stat. So obviously we have Health for HP, this is for attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed. Likewise, there are also the vitamin items that you probably run into every so often. They are rarely found in the field, and in shops they can be quite pricey, but you can find them, I believe, in a Chansey supply store, which you'll find pretty much everywhere. But they cost like 10,000 bucks a pop, so unless you're doing a lot of raid battles like I do, this may not be the most efficient way to do so. In terms of time, sure, but not in terms of cost. But what these vitamin items do, essentially, is give you 10 EV points in a respective stat. So, protein will give 10 points in attack. Carbo's 10 points in speed. And I'm going to show you how some of these items come into play later on. One other thing I also want to talk about is IV values. Now, when you catch a Pokemon, when a Pokemon first joins your team, they are assigned IV values or individual values for each of their stats. And they can range anywhere from 0 to 31. Obviously, you want higher numbers for them to be more stronger stats. So if you have a Pokemon that's all zeros, well, that's going to be a tough Pokemon to raise. Whereas you have a Pokemon with 31s and a couple other stats, they're going to be on the strong end of the table. Now, I have a Hotline with me, which I'm going to basically have as my guinea pig. He has no EVs at the moment. But he is at level 50, and I'm going to go ahead and display his current IV values on the screen here, and I'll let you read them for a moment. Now, as you can see, not the best in the world, but I'm going to figure out ways to change that. Now, back in the day, when I first did my video for EV training, there wasn't a way to really change that up until about generation, I think it was 7 or 8, but I think it was 8, the Sword and Shield era, that they started introducing hyper training. When you hyper train a Pokemon, it will max out a stat to an IV value of 31, basically max out the stat. Now, what you need for those are items called bottle caps. Now, they used to be very rare finds in the field or as victory items in raid battles. However, in this game, you can actually buy them. Problem is, they're 20,000 bucks a pop, but I decided to splurge a bit and buy a bunch of them. So I'll be obviously hyper train my Pokemon when they get a level. Now, it used to be you had to be level 100 in order to hyper train. With this generation, they knocked that requirement all the way down to 50. So that's going to be one thing that's going to be help out in the long run, especially if you are just about at the end of the game, which my team, the Earthbound crew, is currently. And I'll show you exactly where to go and how to do this. I'm going to be using Hotline as an example. Oh, and one other thing I did forget about effort value points. So not only can you add them, you can also subtract them with these certain berries. The Pomeg, the Kelpsie, the Qualop, the Hundu, the Greppa, and the Tomato. What these berries will do, they'll, one, increase happiness. So if you want to get a Pokemon super happy and have a bunch of these that burn, go for it. But these will also knock 10 EV points off of that stat. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because you have limits on how many EV points each of your Pokemon can have. You can have up to 255 effort value points in one stat. You can have 510 altogether on a single Pokemon. So if you're not in the right areas in terms of where you want to train your Pokemon and you need to kind of wipe the slate clean and start over, you've got these berries to fall back on. Now, being that my Hotline currently is at 0, I won't need to worry about using these. Now, I got a lot of these at the Puerto Marineda auction out block, and they'll reset their stocks every couple of hours. But they usually sell these things in bulk. You can also find them in the field or as prizes and terror raids, but personally I find them to be quite easy. I usually drop about maybe 10 to 15 grand on a single batch, and it can include anywhere from 30 to like 90 berries, which I think is pretty cool. Very easy to get the items you need to EV train. So anyways, let me also now take you on a little field trip. We're going to head outside. We're actually going to head to some of the stores here in Messagosa, because I also want to show, one, where you can get these items, and also there's a few other items I also want to show off as well that can also help out in terms of your overall training. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head to Chansey's Supply. Let me just do a real quick map check, because my sense of direction is absolutely terrible. Mark it as my destination. And we'll head down there. Yeah, if you want to, you can go ahead and march on the rooftops if you want to, but we don't have time for that. You know, it gave me a little bit of time to do this seminar. I intend to get every last bit of knowledge I can into your brains during the time I have. Alright, so now, we're at Chassis Supply. Now, the items we have, the vitamin items I mentioned earlier, the HP up, protein, iron, calcium, zinc, and carbos. They cost 10k a pop, but they will add 10 EV points per stat. Now, I also wanted to mention these mints. Now, your Pokemons have natures, which impact how certain stats grow. Like, say, if you're an adamant nature, you will have a 10% stronger physical attack, but a 10% weaker special attack. And normally, back in the days, you could not change that. You were stuck with it when you caught it. But now, with the introduction of these mints, you can actually, well, not necessarily change the nature, but basically give the effects of what that nature would be. So if I gave a Brave Mint to one of my Pokemon, it wouldn't change their nature, but they would start getting buffs in attack, though nerfs in speed. So you have lots of different choices. They've got basically everything you can ask for. The one thing I do want to also point out is a Serious Mint. This is a neutral nature. Basically, all stats will grow at an even pace. Kind of a waste, if you ask me, though. And so that, I believe, will cover everything in terms of trading with EVs. Now, there's one other store I want to go to, Delibird Presents, which I believe is down here. There are other branches around the world, so keep an eye out for those. I believe this is it, though. So let's go in. Actually, no, this is the sandwich place.
Sandwich and I are coming for you! Don't run! It's just ham!
Sorry about that. I saw the staircase and I thought that was it. But that's not it. This is a little bit further down. This is Delibird Presents, where you can get a lot of stuff. Whether it be battle items, general goods, Pokeballs, or even your own custom Rotom phone cases. But I'm going to go into the battle items. Is this where I need them here? No, this isn't it. But those are handy weapons if you want to power up some of your things. Your moves and things like that. General goods, actually. Yeah, see, you could actually buy bottle caps for 20,000 a piece. So you better have a lot of money if you're planning on going that route. But this is also where you can get the power items as well. They're 10k a pop if you wish to do this the natural way and just fight your way to get to these stats. Now, one thing that this generation offer now is Terra types. Now, up until you hit about the 5th gym, which is Medali, we're going to actually head there right now, you were kind of stuck with your Terra type. But you're not necessarily stuck with it permanently. What you can actually do is when you get to Medali and have the proper amount of what are called Terra shards, you can actually change the Terra type of your Pokemon. Now, the catch is, the Terra shards I mentioned, usually they all come in battle. You'll have to be in at least a level 3 raid to actually get them as part of your prize package. And the thing is, you need 50 of one type to change one Pokemon's Terra type. Now, I need to find this eatery, and I can show you where to go to do this. This is the Treasure Eatery. This is where we want to go. This is actually where we also had the gym battle as well with Larry. But I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to show you exactly where you go to change your Terra types. You go all the way in the back here. See this guy? Want to change your Pokemon's Terra type. The thing is, like I said, you need 50 of one type of Terra Shard in order to change the Terra type. And unfortunately, you don't get a lot of them in a single raid battle. I've been doing a lot of them lately, and this is basically the gist of what I have. I have 20 normal, 22 fire, 5, 25. It varies, so if you're looking for a specific type of Terra shard, you want to fight that kind of Terra battle and hope it's at least low 3-star raid. Otherwise, you won't be getting any of these. But they're the best way to get Terra shards. You will very rarely see them in the field as well. If you see one, you consider yourself lucky. Same thing with bottle caps. One thing I also mentioned about the bottle caps, there's also a gold version. Now, with these bottle caps, you can hypertrain one stat. With the gold bottle cap, you can hypertrain them all at once. Now, where do you go to hypertrain? We're going to head there right now. We are going to head to Montenegro, the home of the 7th gym where my team last left off, way up in the mountains. Here we are right here, and it's actually not going to be on the map. I'm actually looking for a specific person with an Obama snow. So let's see if I can find him. I think he's around here somewhere. Here he is right here. Hyper training, get it here. So, I'm going to do hyper training just as an example on one of my Pokemon, in this case Hawlucha. I'm going to real quick show off what its stats are. I'm going to do its attack as an example. Right now it has an attack of 97. So let's see what happens after I hyper train his attack. Yes. So we're going to hyper train Hawlucha. I'm only going to use one bottle cap. Now, you can actually do as many as you want depending on how many caps you have. I'm just going to do attack as an example here. So right now, attack is at 97. We start the training. And like I said, what hyper training will do is send the EV value of that stat all the way to 31, which means it is as high as it will go. So it was at 97, and now it's at 112. Pretty neat, huh?
How did he do it?
And I happen to have a few proteins on me as well. I kind of wish I had more, but let's see what happens if I pour these 4 proteins down Hawlucha's gullet here. Now we're at 117. So in the span of only a minute, with some hyper training and some vitamins, I raised my Hawlucha's attack by a whopping 20 points. Basically 20% higher of what it was. Now, let me also throw on a mint. I think I have a mint of a certain kind I want to give this guy. Oh, this is for speed though, so it's not really what I want to do. Okay, so I don't really have the right one, the right thing I want to show off. But basically, if I were to put the right mint on this guy as well, the attack would rise even higher. Now, I essentially gave Hawlucha 40 EV points in attack by giving him those 4 proteins. And like I said, the maximum you can do in a single stat is 255, and the maximum overall you can have is 510. So basically, you can max out 2 stats of your choice, if you were so inclined. So if you were going to raise like attack and speed, you're trying to get a physical sweeper, that would be the best way to do it, attack and speed. If it's a special attacker, do special attack and speed. If you're going for like kind of a tanky thing, you want to do a mix of maybe HP and defense of some kind. Basically, I would try to stick to your Pokemon's strengths. So say if I were to work on my Titan a bit. Notice its HP is already at 295. So I'd probably be putting this guy in as a kind of a wall, because he can take a lot of punishment even though he's not that fast. He's good at defense, and he could be useful in that regard. So again, you gotta also not only know how to train, but know the strengths and weaknesses of your Pokemon to really make this an effective way to train your Pokemon. And with that, I think that's basically all I need to cover here. So just some quick tips. These berries can be found in the Porto Marinata auction blocks. Just check them frequently. They'll be there on a relatively common basis. Needs to be a level 50 or higher to hyper train. And if you do a lot of raids, you can make a lot of money selling the treasures you get. So if you want to just take the quick way and buy a lot of stuff like bottle caps and mints and all that, by all means, that's the way to do that too. If you don't want to do the painstaking efforts of actually fighting and all that. So I hope that was helpful to you all. And next session that the Earthbound crew and I have, we will continue on our quest. We have, I believe, one gym left at this time of our recording. This one gym left. We've gotten all the Titan Pokemon, and I think we have the last two of the Team Star bases before we start the endgame sequences, and that's going to be quite an adventure in itself. So, thanks for listening to me, and I hope you guys got a bit out of it. But I'm going to go ahead and sign off for tonight. This is TUG, the Earthbound crew, saying be smart, be safe, have fun, take care, and good night.